So remember that video I made about how the T app leaked 72,000 images, including ID, selfies, messages, and metadata? If you missed it, there's a card above so you can catch up. But while I was literally editing that video, new info dropped and it changed everything as I had discussed in that prior video. Turns out, there was more information that may have been exposed. One that exposed recent data, including user posts and photos from just days before it was discovered. Not legacy data like T claimed, active user data. And to make it even worse, they apparently didn't even have security tools to tell if anyone accessed that data, but even worse than that, this is the worst part. T made a public statement on their website, but they didn't notify any users directly, apparently. No app alert, no email, nothing according to users. People only found out their data had been exposed through media coverage. Now there's a class action lawsuit filed in California alleging T was negligent, broke its own privacy promises, and violated state law by keeping users in the dark. So, yeah, this so-called safe space, it just keeps getting more dangerous. Let's break it down. But first, make sure to hit like and subscribe, as well as check out all of my other socials. In their original breach disclosure, T claimed the exposure was limited to a legacy database, basically old content from before February 2024, but that's apparently not all that was exposed. Multiple people have confirmed, and journalists have verified, that there was far more exposed in more areas, and it included photos and posts uploaded the week before the breach was discovered. That directly contradicts T's own statement. So, we are left with two possibilities. Either they had no idea what data was being stored and exposed, or they deliberately misled users to downplay the scale of the breach. And honestly, in my last video, I said it was obvious they never cared about security in the first place. Because if they had even basic cloud security posture management, CSPM, in place like tools like Wiz, Orca, or even AWS native services, they would have seen alerts about publicly exposed S3 buckets, misconfigured permissions, cross-service lateral movement risks, and possibly even exfiltration attempts, as we had seen actually happen, and now there's archives floating around the internet. These are table stakes for running a platform that handles sensitive user data. They didn't catch that they didn't catch this tells me they never had a CSPM coverage, or worse, they ignored the alerts and hoped for the best. Now, here's the worst part that absolutely blows my mind. T never told their users. They made a public post on their website about the breach, a page you'd only see if you were already suspicious or looking for it. There were no emails, no push notifications, and no in-app banners warning users that their data had been exposed. That is a massive failure. If a platform I trusted with my ID and private messages had a breach, I expect to hear it from them, not through a headline. But that's exactly what happened. Users found out about the breach because the media reported it, not because T stepped up and owned it. And for a platform built on trust and safety, that's inexcusable. Now, T is facing a class action lawsuit in California. According to the filing, T exposed highly sensitive personal information, violated its own privacy policy, waited days before securing the open storage bucket, and failed to notify affected users, which may violate California law. The lead plaintiff says her profile photo, full name, and message history were all part of the leaked data set, and like everyone else, she only learned about it from the press. Let's be real. This lawsuit was inevitable. When your whole brand is about protecting women and you fumble basic security while also lying about the scope of the breach, or worse yet, you're unaware of the scope of the breach when you announce it, people are going to fight back. And they should. This is the kind of negligence that fuels breach fatigue. The, oh well, my data's already out there attitude that's way too common now. This is why I hammer so hard on the fact the USA has no right to privacy, and we need data protection regulations like the EU, Canada, South Africa, and China have with GDPR, PIPEDA, POPIA, and PIPL. T pitched itself as a safety first platform. It asked users for ID verification selfies. It promised privacy and protection, and then it failed to secure the data, misrepresented what was leaked, didn't notify users directly, and issued a non-apology while thanking people for their continued trust. Now we know that recent data, not legacy content, was part of the exposed buckets. And the company stayed silent until they got caught. Oh, and one more thing. T has now disabled their direct messaging system entirely. Whether that was a legal strategy, technical failure, or a desperate PR move, it's a pretty bad look. An app built around sharing and safety just quietly shut down private messaging, right when users might want to talk about what happened. That's not damage control. That's collapse in slow motion. Let's not sugarcoat it. The app was a red flag from day one, ironic for an app that was giving green flags and red flags. It marketed itself as a safe space, but lacked even the basics of security infrastructure. It collected biometric ID data without a real deletion policy. It failed to strip EXIF metadata from photos. It didn't issue direct breach notifications to users, apparently, and now it's trying to quietly retreat while being sued. If you still have an account on T, I don't say this easily, but you should consider deleting it and assume your data is already compromised. And warn others, because this is what happens when apps treat trust as a marketing tactic instead of a responsibility. I'll link the class action article and related sources in the description if you want to read more. And again, if you missed my original breakdown of the first T app breach, where we talk about CSPM tools, EXIF data, and all the other red flags, there's a link below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, especially if you were impacted or know someone who was. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on Blue Sky, Mastodon, YouTube, Twitch, and all the usual places. And as always, happy hacking.